Hello everyone, and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today we are watching Freeker in his Texas, the Tier 5 US Premium Battleship. Now he's on the map north in a 4-point domination game mode, and it's the Tier 7 battle, which is not what you want to find in your Tier 5 battleship. Now there are a few Texas around. And I'm not sure, is the plural of Texas Texas? Probably. I'm sorry, I'm not a native English speaker. But anyway, let's take a look at this beautiful ship. It's quite a new ship and it has a lot of anti-air. I mean, look at how many anti-air guns are on this ship. Unfortunately, there are no carriers in this game, so it's pretty pointless, but one of the strengths of the Texas is definitely the anti-air. Now the anti-air guns don't have an amazing range, but they have an amazing damage. Other than that, well, the Texas is really similar to a New York class battleship. It's a rather slow ship, it's well armored, the main guns have a range of 15.6 kilometers, which in a slow ship is not that great. I mean, the Congo has like 21. And you don't have a plane to increase your range. The turrets turn rather slowly, and the middle turret is a bit awkward positioned. It's hard to get it to point at the target. But yeah. They are 365mm guns and they have quite a punch, but they fire rather slowly. So if you like the New York class battleship, you'll probably like the Texas, and if you don't like the New York, you probably don't like the Texas. Now I don't have a Texas on my own, mind you. All the information I have on this ship is from reading the wiki article about it and reading some reviews about it and watching reviews. Now you can see a Nicholas coming around the corner. Freeker didn't shoot with one salvo, he spread out his shots to increase his chances of hitting the destroyer, and it paid off. He got his first kill. Also, he was shooting high explosive. Yes, he was prepared for that, and he still has high explosive loaded. You're probably expecting to shoot at a well-angled enemy battleship. If the enemy battleship is well-angled, then your armor piercing won't do that much, so there might be some merit to shooting high explosive, but this Texas is currently showing broadside, so it's a bit sad that he had high explosive loaded, but he immediately switches to armor piercing. The reload of those guns is, well, as is common in battleships, rather long, so if you have not the ideal ammunition loaded, you just shoot anyway and you switch for your next salvo. Now, so far the friendly team controls the point B and the point D. They have lost A and they are well, doesn't look so good at C. But still, this game is pretty even. They have a slight lead, and they might even be able to get A. The enemies seem to be retreating here. Now, there are some enemy reinforcements coming. I'm not sure if they try to push towards B or if they continue towards A. I have to see that. Now, Freeker is turning around and he's probably going into A now. The enemy numbers have been reduced around here, and we'll probably be able to finish the York. Those battleships are somewhat in retreat, so it's a good idea now to push into A. Yeah, the dispersion on his shots wasn't very lucky. I mean, the York is pretty good angled, but anyway. He does have quite good shots at the Congo, I guess, so I think switching targets was a good idea. hitting this York, even though it's only 8 kilometers away. It's a tiny target the way she's angled, and as you see, the dispersion on these guns isn't that great. And the Congo was presenting broadside. Fortunately, no Citadel hits, but still. Now the York is moving again. He's trying to dodge torpedoes, and he is presenting a much better target now. Now the next salvo should be able to kill this York. There you go, looks... Oh, that was pretty unlucky, I think. Although I'm not sure, maybe there were over penetrations in those salvo. The York doesn't really have great armor, and I think the Texas has pretty good penetration. But I'd kind of had expected Citadels here. There are some torpedoes launched from the York. The rudder shift time in the Texas isn't that great, so... And there won't. And by the way, here you can see the nice sinking animation since the new patch. It's... well, seeing ships sink has never been more beautiful. And by now, the enemy is kind of taking the lead. They have one more ship. The friendly team is losing B. Now Freeker here is slowly driving into A. You can see the ship just, it's not very fast. Even at top speed it does like only 20.5 knots. But he slowly going into that cap circle, and there isn't an enemy here to stop him. So they should take control of A. And I don't think D is threatened. So there is Congo sailing around this island any minute now. He is waiting for that. Can get a full salvo into this Congo's broadside and hopefully with a ton of damage. And yeah, there was no Citadel, but it still was a lot of damage. And you see the Congo's guns aren't pointing in this way, so doesn't even have to worry about angling or anything. He can just sit here with his broadside. And seems like the Congo has beached herself. Now this next salvo should take care of the Congo. And also he has captured A by now. So very nice. Obviously now is the Citadel when it's not needed anymore. Now it's not looking that great ship-wise. This destroyer is probably spotted by the enemy destroyer, so he might get taken out by all those ships. Those two ships, they are pushing, I think, a bit too far here in the north. They should probably try to go towards B. This whole area up here is not really important. If an enemy battleship is sitting here, all he can do is like snipe. And don't have to worry about that much. What's important is kind of controlling those points, and if enemies want to sit up here, then they are much irrelevant, unless they are carriers. There might sometimes be some merit in hunting down a carrier if you're a fast ship. But at the moment I'd rather see those ships like pushing towards B and supporting Freeker here. And yep, there is an enemy destroyer who came around this island and kind of ambushed Freeker. But the first torpedo salvo did not succeed. But you know, this ship has more than one torpedo launcher, and also I think a rather good torpedo reload, so... Now he's turning towards the destroyer to minimize the chance of getting hit by a torpedo. Now here comes the second torpedo salvo, and he takes one but avoids two. And now he'll probably turn in order to get his rear guns pointing at this destroyer. This destroyer is... well, you can also see the secondaries on this ship are pretty dead. And I think there is a replay bug here because we can see the guns shooting even though they are... I guess the UI kind of Didn't notice where the guns were. I'm not exactly sure what just happened, but he played it correctly. He turned to point his gun at the destroyer. So he kept his nose pointed to avoid the torpedo strike and then turned and fired his guns, and he killed himself a destroyer. Pretty nice. And now there is a New Mexico he has to concern himself with. So he'd probably rather go towards B and cap, but he has to deal with this New Mexico first, and he can't show his broadside. Now he was waiting for the New Mexico to fire. Now he is turning to fire his rear guns, and then he will probably try to angle himself again before the New Mexico reloads. Yeah. Very nicely done by Freeker. As you can see, he's angling by the time the shots arrive. He isn't showing broadside anymore, and he was able to fire his rear guns. Now here we go again. New Mexico has fired. He is turning his ship, and he will hopefully sink the New Mexico. Now the New Mexico is realizing too late that he should have probably angled his ship better, and there he goes. But it's... oh, they just lost another ship. It's not looking good. This battleship here died as well. Here we have a friendly battleship who is still here pushing the north, but he is without support. And all the enemies are up here somewhere, I think. Freeker is finally able to go and capture B. Yeah, he is in a really slow ship, and he got delayed by the enemies around here. Currently it's looking pretty bad. And hopefully this battleship can take out the enemy up there. And yeah, they'd have to control the majority of the capture points. Well, because it's not looking good point-wise. So unless the enemies make some very crucial mistakes, this is probably going to be a loss. Also, what was introduced with the last patch is weather, and I think this is the only map where there can be changing weather conditions, like a sudden storm that uses visibility. We haven't seen anything during this match so far, but I think it can happen on this map. Maybe it's a different version of it, or maybe it's just random. I have only played a few battles so far in the new patch, and sometimes there is a little bit of a storm in the beginning, which is, yeah, pretty nice visuals. Now the enemy cruiser is already pretty heavily damaged, so he spreads out his shots in the hopes of using his chance of hitting. Dispersion was not really in his favor there. Let's see, one hit could be enough to sink this ship. There you go, it was even a Citadel hit. That was not needed, but hey, he unleashed the Kraken in his Texas. Now he is finally capturing B, but it just lost D and they are losing A, so there isn't much he can do. This ship is way too slow to react to anything. And the battleship in the north died as well. So, unless all enemies not rush him now and he can kill them, there really isn't anything he can do. And in the chat they are already saying good game, well played. And it's nice to see that they are all very friendly about it. I mean, ultimately it's just a game and we all play to have fun. And if an enemy plays well, it's nice to congratulate them. So he is now going towards the point C, I guess. I mean, as I said, he's too slow. He probably won't even arrive here before the game has ended. He might run into an enemy. We know someone captured D, who is probably somewhere. Is probably coming this way. But we don't know who it was. I mean, it might have been a battleship for all I know. And a battleship probably can't go through the middle and would have to drive all the way around here, so chances of him meeting an enemy are rather slim. And yes, you can see the points, they are almost there, and they have won. Now let's take a look at the results. Freeker managed to get 1500 base experience. Only 2 enemies had more experience than he did. So very well played by him. And it was even a low tier battle without any carriers. So the main strength of the Texas, the anti-air, played no role in it. And well, I guess the Texas is a great ship if you are into US battleships, and it's a mid-tier premium battleship, which is nice to see in the shop. I don't have one myself, so it was also a nice way of showing you some gameplay. And yeah, I think it was a nice match. He played it really well, and you could also see that the speed and maneuverability just isn't that great. So he played it right. He stayed close to the points, and he didn't move too far away, and was always somewhat in a position to do something, I think. That's something that you have to do in this ship. You just can't sail too far towards a zone wall or into a corner of the map, because getting back into the battle will just take way too long. Oh, anyway, he managed to do something like 93,000 damage, I believe. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this battle. I certainly did. And I see you guys next time.